Welcome to Rate the Dream, Life, Love, and Mortgages. I'm your host, Melissa Landon, and thanks for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about property management, and I have Tiffany Izenour. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, from Freedom Property Management. Awesome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I know we've been trying to do this for like a month now. I feel like a lot of how it's my fault with kids and back to school and just busy life. And doctor's appointments, all the fun things. I do appreciate you being flexible.
Of course.
And joining.
Yes.
So we're gonna dive in, but you're gonna have to kind of help me here because this is new for me. Property management is new.
Okay.
So other than rental property, what all is property management? And how did you get into it? So it's a double question for me.
Oof.
So do a little intro kind of of who you are, if you don't mind, for me. And then let's dive into property management.
Okay. So I got into property management in 2011. So I've been doing this for almost 15 years now. And I got into it really just on a fluke. I was looking for a change. I had been in banking and lending. I did personal lending. I was with BB&T Bank.
Okay.
And went through a number of the different local branches. I was a relationship banker. I was a wealth advisor. I was a financial center leader.
Nice.
I did small business lending. I did personal lending. And it was the 2010 timeframe where you do more with less, really cutting down on staffing. And I was just in a place personally and professionally that I wanted something different. I wanted to be able to make a better and bigger impact for my clients and for my community. And had the opportunity to partner at Freedom Property Management and jumped ship and never looked back.
Nice.
Very quickly got my real estate license because you do need to have your real estate license to do property management and leasing. And took over as full owner and broker in 2017. And we have grown and expanded and taken over Northern Virginia as a small little boutique management company.
And where are you guys located?
We're located in Manassas.
Okay.
We'll serve all of Northern Virginia, kind of an hour radius from Manassas area.
Okay. And what all does property management entail? Right. So it's more, so if I'm looking to make a house a rental property or investment property, so how does that work? We call you or walk me through the steps of how property management works.
So we specifically do residential property management.
Okay.
You have commercial property management, you have HOA management. So when you say property management, people can think of a number of different things.
Right.
So we specifically do long-term residential property management.
Okay.
If you are looking to buy an investment property that you're going to buy and hold, or you're going to turn your primary residence into a long-term investment because you're buying someplace else, or your military government, you're moving out of the area for the next 2 to 5 years, but you want to maintain that property because maybe you have a 3% interest rate.
Right.
Is refinanced in 2020.
It's like a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's a great opportunity if you are financially and mentally prepared to be a landlord.
Right.
And so that's the type of property management that we do. We help you as the small to mid-size landlord investor to make the appropriate decisions that's going to protect that asset, protect yourself and your family, mitigate your risk with owning that. And at the end of the day, provide really good housing to our tenant populations.
Okay. So you essentially then help me. I call you and say, okay, I have this property. We're moving. We want to keep it. Can you manage it for me while I move overseas? Or just, even if I currently live here, I just want to deal with it. But I want to keep it because it's like I said, you got 2% rate. It's a great investment. How do I even begin being a landlord? That's how they call you.
They call us. We have an initial discovery call to just make sure that everyone has the right expectations, see if it's a good fit on the property wise, go through some of those initial, hey, landlord, are you prepared for this and this and this and this and this? And if that sounds good, then we come into a site visit. We'll meet you at the property, preferably meet you at the property, do a walkthrough, and provide you with some very real feedback on what you need to do to get your property rent ready.
Okay.
Preparing a property for renters is much different than preparing it for buyers. Virginia, you've got buyer beware state. Buyers are responsible for doing their own inspections and making sure that they know what they're getting themselves into.
Right.
When you're preparing a rental property, the landlords have the obligation to provide a fit, habitable, and safe dwelling unit to their tenants.
So there's inspections then that me as a landlord would need to do.
There's no legal responsibility or requirement that
Okay.
your landlord are doing inspections, but you're required to provide this certain quality of property for your tenants, and that's all detailed within the Virginia Residential Landlord Tenant Act. So there are laws that specifically govern that relationship and the responsibilities and what the landlords are supposed to maintain in the property versus what the tenant's responsibility is.
And most people would, I mean, I've been in real estate my entire life and would have no idea. And I'm going to go with probably 9 times out of 10, people have no clue. They just think we're going to keep this. It's a great investment. We're moving on, or we're going to get a bigger house and keep this, and they, do however they make that work. And then they just rent it, put it up for rent. They would have no idea.
Exactly. They pull a lease online. They Google it.
Yeah.
Google lease, and don't realize that you have to have a VRLTA lease. Don't realize that the current VRLTA code requires that all fees and all rents have to start on the first page of the lease. You have disclosures that you have to have attached to it in order for it to be enforceable. There's so much more to it than just,
hey, here's going to rent my property for $2,200 a month. Okay.
So, we go through, it's a lot of educating.
Yeah.
And so we go through that with our initial discovery calls, with a site visit to the property.
Okay.
And, 9 times out of 10, the landlord's like, okay, I'm good. I've kind of thought through a lot of this.
Yeah.
So you've got a ton of information on Google, ChatGPT, and you ask it the right questions, it's going to give you
right.
And so, most of the time, the landlords in our area are fantastic. They want to provide really good housing to their tenants, and they just didn't know. And so we bring in the contractors to do what needs to happen and take it from there.
Okay. So then you handle everything. So then once you've gone through all those steps and it's ready, the house is ready to be leased. Is that correct terms? Okay. So then do you guys do the postings for that?
We do full service management. There are management companies that do a la carte, that have differing levels of involvement with the landlord client. I prefer not to be micromanaged.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of authorization in our management agreement.
Okay.
And that management agreement includes a listing agreement. It includes giving us the authority to do things as if we were the landlord.
Okay.
Enforce the lease contract, communicate with the HOA, engage with contractors, serve lease violations, terminate tenancies, go to court. All of that we do on behalf of the landlord.
Okay.
Most of our landlords, they hear from us a couple times a year, and no news is good news.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they know that everything's being taken care of. So we do everything from that professional marketing so that your property is appealing to the highest quality of tenant. We don't want toilet seats up. We're not going through with our iPhone.
Right.
Take pictures. We were talking earlier about, branding, and that is the first impression that your tenants are going to have of the property. And so we believe that means a lot. So we want to set that good expectation right from the beginning. We do everything from the property photos. We list on the MLS. So we do participate and we cooperate with our realtor partners.
Nice.
We have a very professional tenant base in our area, and those tenants use realtors.
Yeah.
And so if we believe that engaging with our realtor partners means that we're leasing our properties faster, we're getting better quality tenants in place, and then at the end of the day, that means our landlords have lower vacancies and higher total rent amounts at the end of the year. And we take care of that entire process. We then screen applications.
So the applications all go through you. So you guys do all of it. And as a homeowner, I just wait for you to tell me which is the best applicant.
We don't even do that.
Oh.
So we do all of the processing of applications.
Okay.
We do the screening. We do the approvals and denials. The only time that you get brought in is if it's like a conditional application.
Okay.
If it's someone that has got, maybe they've got really great income, but they've had some credit struggles. And so it's above and beyond what we can make a decision for.
Okay.
But we might believe that it's okay to approve given some conditions, maybe a double security deposit.
Right.
This tenant is on the right track. They're proving that they're responsible. And we believe that with a little bit of extra risk mitigation, like a double deposit, that they would be a great long-term tenant. But we're not going to make that decision for you. You're going to make that decision for yourself. But we are only giving you what you need to know to make that decision.
Okay.
We're not giving you information that you could use to accidentally discriminate. with the process of
Oh,
that application.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
So there's this whole other side
Yeah.
called Fair Housing and Fair Credit Reporting Act and Privacy Act and all of these things that you as a landlord client and us and every realtor, like we're all bound by that.
Right.
But you, unless you're doing this professionally,
Would know.
you don't know what fair housing is. You don't know
Right.
what those protected classes
Yeah.
are.
We would have no idea. Yeah.
You don't know that. No, you should not Google your tenant and see
Oh,
where
gosh.
they work and where they go to school and what their kids, sports are, because then it's automatically giving you
Yeah.
a preconceived notion of who this person is. And does that matter
Right.
when it comes to qualifying them as a tenant? And this kind of goes back to my lending days, and you can probably appreciate this being a mortgage lender. Who they are, what their last name is, what the color of their skin, has zero to do with their ability to repay.
Correct.
And so that's really how we focus. And that's what we've determined is the best way for us to put good quality tenants in place, protect our landlord clients, and protect our business.
I love that though. I mean, because again, you're correct. I think some of it's you don't wouldn't be on purpose, but people would probably start. I didn't even think that Googling or looking up. Well, because this age you could find anybody anywhere, right, on social media and stuff. But that's funny. I never
We do
thought
it all
of
the
it.
time. Can you get us good tenants? Like I can get you well qualified tenants that look good on paper, but I'm sorry, they don't have. No one has created that crazy box yet.
Yeah.
For applicants to tell me that they're going to be unreasonable, that they're going to be not good tenants. So
Yeah. And sometimes it's a personality trait too, right? You would have no idea if they're going to be in there and nitpick every little thing based off of their credit application. I would be crazy. I would be that person that runs and like, oh, that might be broken, just because I would want it to come back on me.
Right.
But you wouldn't know that by me filling out my credit profile. So
Exactly. So there's always going to be a degree of risk.
yeah.
We can never, it's never 100%. But by utilizing professional management, by utilizing someone that understands how to mitigate that risk, then you are at a much better chance at having good long-term tenants, low wear and tear, low issues.
So if there's any issues, once it's rented and they've moved in, you guys handle. I mean, essentially, you guys are handling everything.
Yeah, we do everything.
So then once I'm in the house, if there are issues, they obviously then reach out to you guys. And then you guys, if, say there's a leak or something, then do you reach out to the homeowner or you guys just handle everything?
So
and
we're
then
keeping
circle
you as
back?
the homeowner in the loop.
Okay. Through the whole process, you're kind of like, this is what's going on.
Through the whole process, right?
Okay.
We're not coming to you saying, can we fix this leak that's happening in your house?
Yeah.
We're saying we are fixing this leak.
Okay.
And if it's within our approval criteria, then we're saying we fixed the leak.
Okay. So there's like a set dollar amount that's like, hey, if it's, and then something that you and I would set in our beginning conversations, like you guys can, anything that's under, what's normal, what's average?
Average for us is $500.
Okay.
So if a maintenance repair is under $500, so for example, you're a tenant in some properties and take place.
I know, I'm very fantastic. I'll just give it back a little.
So you as a tenant would submit a maintenance request through your online portal. Let's say your garbage disposal wasn't working.
Okay.
And our maintenance team receives that maintenance request. They're troubleshooting with you. Tenant, have you reset the disposal? Have you used the little Allen wrench thingy that's underneath?
And most people don't even know there.
Like, oh. So most of the time that's fixed. Easy peasy, we just saved our owner money. All right, well, is it just that it's not turning on or is it making a sound? Tell us a little bit about what happens so that we can do some of that troubleshooting. We're sending the right contractor out and we're also setting expectations for the tenant that if you put last night's spaghetti in there and that's why it's not working anymore, then keep in mind if our contractor takes a photo and sees that there's a disposal full of spaghetti, you're going to be reimbursing the owner for the cost of this.
Okay. Yeah.
But otherwise, hey, we're going to get a contractor sent out and they're going to take care of this. We know that garbage disposals are not going to cost more than $500.
Right.
But the inconvenience of having to send a contractor off multiple times to give an estimate and then go out and fix it, that's hassle for everybody.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to take care as much as possible the first trip. And so that is sort of the philosophy behind that dollar amount as well. And as maintenance costs continue to rise, we may have to continue to increase that reserve amount and that authorization level so that we're being as responsible as possible with our contractors' time and with our tenants' time and with our owners' money.
That makes sense. So when you get people and they come in, what in this area, because we're Northern Virginia area, for everybody watching, you're almost in Northern Virginia. What's the longest term you guys do? Or does it just depend? So like when you put the house up for lease, for rent, whatever, lease or for term, right? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Insurance, you filled it. Okay. I guess I, as a landlord, can set it, or do you guys just put up and people can pick? Like, what's the longest you've ever seen somebody rent the same place? I'm surprised to see your answer because I wouldn't have played that, and I was like, wait, you've rented the same place for how long?
We have tenants that have been in our property since I joined Freedom in 2011.
Okay,
But we're not putting a 10-year lease in place.
they're doing a year.
We are
Renewing
so
it.
with
Okay.
brand new leases. I traditionally want to do a rough 1 year ish, give or take,
Yeah.
lease. I don't want to get in a long-term lease relationship with a tenant that might
Oh, good call.
turn out like you and be unreasonable.
Be unreasonable if I nitpick everything. You guys want me to leave in a year?
Right, exactly. So we want to have some of that ability. So very, very rarely will we do a 2 or 3 year lease right off the bat.
Okay.
We want to do a 1 year lease, and we also want to get that lease into a renewal timeframe that is going to position our landlord client to be the best kind of rental population. So we want to have that renew in like the March to June timeframe. So for leases that are right now, properties that are on the market right now, most of those we're putting in place for maybe a little less than a year or a little over a year, just to
Okay.
be sure that if we do have a vacancy next year, it's in an appropriate period of time where our landlords are going to have access to more renters that are moving.
And do you guys find that still that spring summer time frame?
It is. It does very much follow and mirror the sales market.
Yeah.
We have the summer slump that we're just coming out of.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
July, August timeframe. And then we dip again during the holidays.
Okay. But not impossible. Like
Yeah.
someone could, if you
properties rent.
yeah, they
every
rent.
day.
And I think around here too, it's helpful because of where we are. But the biggest leases renewal or people going and coming is
And
spring.
it's so you have the larger rental population, and so that means a little bit higher rental rates and lower daily market, so lower
Okay.
vacancy.
Okay.
Right now we're sitting with a couple of properties, very unusual, that have been on the market for 2 months.
Really?
And
That goes back to the real estate market, right? I mean, you've got houses that are beautiful houses that are exceptionally priced, right? And they're just sitting for no.
And then there's pockets that are moving like that.
Yes. And then you still have the ones that are getting multiple offer situations. Like, I feel like make it
Very
make sense.
similar.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't make it make sense. It doesn't. Okay.
So if you see it happening on the sales market in terms of activity and inventory, then that's pretty similar in the rental market.
Okay.
And so, but once that 1 year or that renewal time comes up, if everything is gravy, then of course we're going to get,
Yeah.
you locked in for another 1 or 2 years, depending on what everyone's preferences are. Obviously, for a landlord client that's going to be back
Yeah.
in a year or two,
Yeah.
then we want to try to match up that termination date as much as possible with their expected return.
Yeah. And we have a lot of military people around here too. And I find some people are, it's not what it was before where like you're here for 2, you're out. I mean, it's a lot right now is just, we're here indefinitely. We don't really know, right? There's no, like it was, I don't say before, but I feel like now it's so many people are like, we don't really know how long we're going to be here. So I had a lot more military buy this year than I've had before because they were like, well, there is no end date for me. Like, well, it will be a minimum X, but odds are I'll be there. And they're like, so we'll just buy. But a lot of it's funny because a lot of it had switched this year. So I don't know, maybe that's why for you guys too. So then at the end of every year, you guys can then how do you then renegotiate what the cost of rent is? Do you do an analysis of the area, increase it or decrease it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We start that process almost 4 months ahead of time with our landlord clients to understand what their goals are, make sure that the property is still performing well.
Yeah.
Is it an aging property that just has an unreasonable amount of routine maintenance and things are constantly breaking down? Is this still a good investment asset for you?
Yeah.
We want to have those conversations with our landlord clients. So it's not just that we're managing their property, but we're managing their asset. And if there needs to be some bigger improvements made. If they do have a vacancy, well, what do we need to be prepared for? If the tenants move out, do we need to have the whole place painted? Do we need to have carpet?
Yeah.
Do we need to do bigger renovations? And do you have the budget for that? And we know all of that because we've been doing periodic inspections of the property.
That was going to be my second question is, then do you guys periodically just check in just to see how the tenants are maintaining the property themselves? If they don't have dogs and we're allowed dogs, do you do? Oh, that is a thing, huh?
Yes, it's a thing.
Okay. I would assume.
And that all comes into play when we're making renewal recommendations as well.
Okay.
How well are your tenants maintaining the property? How well are they abiding by the lease contract and the HOA rules and regulations and all of those things? How much of a nuisance are they being? Do we want to offer that renewal?
Okay.
And then we'll do an evaluation of the market and see what comparable rentals are going for. So if we did lose the tenant and needed to find a new tenant, what are we going to be marketing that at? Because that's going to make a big factor on how much of an increase do we want to ask for. Because the second that you put an increase on the table, your tenant is then looking to see
what else is out there.
It's expensive to move. It just moved. I don't ever want to do it again.
It's wild.
It's insane. So why tenants do it so frequently is beyond me, but a big reason that they do it is because of rent increases that are unreasonable and maintenance that's not being maintained. But so that's a whole other
Part two. That's a part two. In the area right now, are you seeing the rent staying the same? No, because housing prices, I feel like we're increasing. Everyone's like, rent is just as expensive. But as we see a little bit out the market evening out, do you see rental prices coming down or just kind of holding steady at what they are? And I know some of it depends on the area, but in an average, what are you seeing the rental prices looking like?
So we're still putting some increases in place with rent renewals. But with what's coming out in the market right now, we are seeing a bit of a softening compared to what rented 6-12 months ago.
Okay.
The back in the COVID year, so 2020, 2021, 2022, we were seeing 20 to 30% rent increases.
Wild.
It was insane because we didn't have the inventory.
Yeah.
And everyone was moving out of the city and wanting space because you couldn't do this. You couldn't talk to people.
Yeah.
But all that has changed now. Inventory levels have returned and there's a lot more to choose from. People are back in the city. They're back in condos.
Yeah. Well, some had no choice, right? Had to report to the office.
But so that has contributed to a bit of the softening in some areas. But like you said, there are some markets, there's some communities that it's
still
gangbusters. Yeah.
Now, have you seen where that you had to lower? Are you guys lowering? So like if my lease is coming up but I want to stay, do you then evaluate? Have you ever seen it go the opposite way?
We haven't had it go the opposite way in
Just why? Okay, so just kind of hold steady then.
Since like way before COVID.
Okay.
When the market was a lot different. But as to if we are coming up to that type of a market again, I think if you put tenants into your properties at a very high rent rates, to maintain them in some communities, you may have to negotiate that out. You may need to reduce the rent in order to keep a good tenant in your property and not have a vacancy.
Yeah,
sometimes that's the right.
The rate's right, well, because they would move, like you said. As much as people hate to move, it's going to save them. And it has to be significant, I feel like you said, because moving is a pain. No one likes to move. Anything I didn't ask? What was that? Anything I didn't ask that you? I mean, I know it's like a big grab. Oh, this is something to know. So if I am out here as a new investor, okay, I don't have any investment properties, but I am thinking about, I'm going to keep my primary for my family, but I come into some money and I'm thinking of real estate, right? Because everyone's investing in building your wealth. Could I come to you first? And you could advise me on the areas you think would be best for me and what I'm looking to do. Is that, how do I say that without like you steering me? That's you know what I mean. But could I come to you like, hey, I would like to invest in some. I'm not sure if it's condos or single family or townhouse, but I have some money I'm looking to play with. I want to invest in the stock market because it makes me nervous, but I would like to do real estate. I can sit down and have a conversation with you as a potential investor, and you can walk me through all the ins and outs and teach me.
Yes.
And show me and advise me. That's not that word. Advise me which areas around Northern Virginia would be a great place for me to invest my money and create some generational wealth. Okay.
Most investors that come into the Northern Virginia market understand what the draw is to Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
We're in this bubble that has a really fantastic tenant base. We have some very high net worth homes.
Yeah.
But this is not a cash flow area. Like you're not going to buy an investment property and cash flow off of it. This is a market where you're banking on the quality tenants, low vacancy, and appreciation of your property. So the traditional investor is saying, all right, I have to make this much money a month.
Right.
Not necessarily as realistic in Northern Virginia, unless you have a 3% interest rate or you're coming in with cash.
Right. Okay.
If you're looking to finance, then 9 times out of 10, this is not the market to be cash flowing as an investor if you're getting into financing. Other people may disagree. But
No, I'm fully tracking what you're saying because there are people that can come in here and drop $500,000-$600,000 for a townhouse and rent it out and pay cash for it. But if you're financing that with the higher rate and then trying to offset it with a rent, you're coming close. If not, you might not even break even. You might be underwater. So I'm tracking what you're saying.
So if the investor's coming in with cash, and so very true. That's what I did this past weekend. I had an investor referred to me from a property manager in Roanoke, and he's looking to come to the area permanently in the next couple of years, but wants to buy something now because he's got cash, rents it out for the next few years. And so we spent all weekend looking at properties. And he had some very specific criteria. He wanted it to be a single family home. He wanted it to be within in the 28 corridor, so it was easy to get to Dulles, even the Chantilly area, and a max 600,000. And so that then put us in certain areas that I had to work with him on. Okay, this is how most of those areas, the homes are 20 to 50 years old.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And so the risk of having an older property as a rental, and then a lot of those were on the single family home side, some that have been kind of modified over the years. Maybe the garages were turned into an extra bedroom or something of that nature, because he also didn't want to be in an HOA.
Well, and that's hard in Fairfax County.
And it's hard in Manassas.
And Manassas, that whole 20. Yeah, that's tough.
So we ended up needing to be in the Manassas area looking for properties, and we saw like 8 in Manassas over the weekend. And thankfully found a pretty decent one. Hopefully carrying it a little bit.
Fingers crossed.
But he had that realistic expectation of what the rent rate is now.
Yeah.
What his purchase price is, and coming in with cash, he knows what that cash was going to be. But he didn't have that understanding of, I need to be in Fairfax, I need to do and have all of these other things. I did educate him on quite a bit regarding the area, regarding the local tax rates. That caught him off guard quite a bit with the property that is $600,000 and you've got $8,000 a year.
Actually, is this one thing that I do find, like when with people moving and you send them estimates and they 600,000, like okay, and they stomach that, then what 600,000 can buy them in Fairfax County, Prince William County, and they're like okay, and then you send them the estimate, and they're like, and then the taxes, they see the taxes on the estimate and they're like, oh wow, and then, and even the lawyer's in charge, but the taxes are big.
Yes. So we went through all of that. We went through kind of the annual maintenance and upkeep on different ages of properties. And you get to a single family home and you have a lot more maintenance.
Yeah.
Because you have more walls that you're taking care of, and you have yard, you have trees, you have grass, you have driveway, you have more windows, you have a larger roof, and you have more square footage on the interior of the property. Where if something does happen, your exposure on replacement cost is much higher than in a condo or a townhouse or something of that nature. So making sure that you're looking a little bit deeper and understanding what both the benefits of the cash flow, the appreciation, the great tenants, but also the risk that's associated. And I tend to spend a lot of time talking with brand new landlords about the risk of being a landlord. It's emotionally draining. It can mentally destroy you if you have a difficult time. And the financial piece of it can ruin you if you're not prepared. And if you are that 0.001% that has that adverse situation happen, if your tenant doesn't pay their rent, if you end up getting a fraudulent application and someone moves into your property, that is a complete fraud.
Oh, man.
We just had that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
First time that's ever happened.
Fraud is like, it is out of control. The scam
we caught 8 fraudulent applications, and this is the one that we did not catch.
I hate to say that criminals are so smart, but they're getting so smart that you just don't. I got hacked the other day from, they said they were calling from my bank. They sent me a text. The text said it was from the name of my bank, confirming, give me the 4-digit code. Oh yeah, it was a whole thing. And then I felt really stupid, but then when I went to the bank and she was like, there's no way you would not know that was not us. There's 100%. She was like, because you can send a text from anywhere. There are all these apps now and you just say from Melissa Lane or from Burke and Herbert, from wherever. And I'm going to text Tiffany this 4-digit code. And oh, by the way, the 4-digit code is adding your credit card to my account. Oh yeah, it's wild. So it's getting hard. It's tough on the lending side too. I mean, underwriters are really scrutinizing documents, and we're seeing a lot of, because one person applies and you never really talk to the spouse, or my dad's co-signing for me. You have all of those and you think you touch all of it, but it's crazy. I mean, they're really scrutinizing and changing the way everything, because there's so much fraudulent activity.
Same on our side.
Yeah.
Fraudulent documents, fraudulent tax returns, paycheck stubs, fraudulent IDs, and a couple of them that we caught them because the credit report, the actual owner of the credit report had reported identity theft. And so we're able to call and we are not looking to rent a property in Virginia, but the ID matched, all the income documentation matched the names and addresses, and so smart. And it's not unusual for us to do sight unseen leases, sight unseen applications. We have military, government. We have people moving into the area all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us to get an application from someone that we've never met in person, that's never seen the property in person, we do great photos and videos.
Yeah, it's not unheard of at all.
No.
At all.
And so it's that this year, and I've heard this from a lot of my property management colleagues from across the country, has become so much more prevalent. So making sure that our landlord clients, both new and seasoned, understand these risks and these changing risks in the changing market.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a big hit for us, and thankfully that was with a landlord client of ours that is a bit more experienced, has worked with us for a while, and just did the process with us, and we got that person evicted as quickly as we could. But it took 3 weeks for the certified check to come back as referred maker, so we didn't even know for 3 weeks.
And they were in the property. Oh my gosh.
Or somebody.
Well, yeah, somebody was in the property. Yes. So, because there's a lot of education that's involved with it. It's not just like I said, as simple as, it is and it isn't, right? It's not just as simple as, okay, I'm going to move here. We're going to rent this property. And you have to really educate yourself. And that's what you guys, it sounds like, take great pride in doing, is educating landlords.
Yes. Trying to reduce the risk as much as possible. Again, it doesn't take away.
Yeah.
But
again, if you are one of those who, and this might come out not wrong, but if you are we have this townhouse, our rates too, we're very paychecky to paycheck, we want this bigger house, we want to keep this house, this might not be for you. Because if you get a tenant in there that all of a sudden say they're great on paper, what if they lose their job, or what if something happens? And now you've got to be able to swing both, because not everything is fraudulent. So, what if they get sick or lose a job, or, something happens?
Or we replaced about 12 AC systems this past summer.
Oh yeah.
You know,
You have to have some reserves.
You not having the money is not an excuse for not abiding by the lease contract that you have with your tenant. And your tenant has legal rights and legal recourse if you as a landlord don't act promptly to maintain that property. You can't leave them in 100-degree weather without air conditioning.
No, nice.
4 or 5 days just because you have a home warranty and that home warranty is backed up and they don't have the parts.
We saw a lot of that.
Oh, yes.
I was heck here too this summer, so that was. Is that your biggest one, the AC?
During
during
heating seasons.
Yeah.
And then of course we have the furnaces during the cold season. It's just everything is seasonal there. We just had a lot this last year.
Well, because a lot of units are old. I mean, a lot of houses around where they're renting are older homes. I mean, they renovated, people keep up with them really well. But we bought our house in 2019 and our unit has some tons of issues on it, just the wear and tear of the units in general. But, and ours has too, single family. But do you find single families are harder to rent than townhomes or condos?
No, single families in
Right.
our area are actually pretty desirable.
Okay.
With the distance that we are to military bases, to DC, to Arlington, we tend to fill our single family homes pretty decently. And we tend to have 2.5 to 3 year average tenancies. And so you don't have, whereas with, a 1 or 2 bedroom condo, you have that higher probability of having annual vacancies. But your exposure and your risk there is a lot lower. It's a lower rent rate, you have lower square footage to maintain. But just the type of tenants that are going to be there may not be there for as long of a period of time.
Yeah, that makes sense because they're smaller.
Right. Families, it's a lot more to fix up.
Well, yeah, I think on a daily, like what we do to maintain our own property, right? Just the grass and all the stuff that goes in with single family and keeping it put together. Do you guys do any sort of rent to own situations? Do you guys see much of that?
A big thing in the market.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of it when I first came into property management.
Yeah.
But it's
I haven't seen a whole lot of it either. Like on our sites, every once in a while you'll get where someone will call and I've actually my career as a lender done too. And they were rent to own situation where, they were trying to save and pay a couple things off. And every year they had to renew the lease. I had to say they're qualified. They were, but I haven't seen any of it since. But we do get, sometimes people do ask that kind of situation. But I don't know most of the time around here why you would want to do that. I don't know, maybe that was more in market. The houses, people were upside down and they had to move, couldn't sell it. And they're like, hey, rent, maybe rent it on. But I haven't seen it. But I wasn't sure if you guys are seeing much of it either.
We haven't had too many tenants ask on it here lately either. And most of them don't understand what a true rent to own contract would look like. They're thinking that they're going to get a better situation from the landlord because they want to buy it down the road. That they'll get a discount on a monthly basis. No, honey.
Yeah.
You're paying your rent plus on a monthly basis. And you're agreeing to whatever's going to happen in 5 years, whether or not all these other contingencies happen.
The one I did was a disaster.
I'm sure. Everyone that I did when I first
then because now you want to buy the property, but now all these things, and then the landlord was like, well, that's wear and tear that you put on the house, and right there was no. Now I just stood over here like this is a terrible idea. I knew it was a terrible idea from the get-go, but it was a situation that they wanted to do, but it didn't. I think they kind of were able to agree on some things, but the seller at that point, then the landlord became the seller. It was very much like, well, that's wear and tear you created, but you're in this agreement that now you're going to buy it.
Right.
So they were kind of screwed, for loss of better words. So, but they don't make a whole lot of sense. Unless it's like family. I think maybe some family where I did have one that they were going to rent. It was a family owned property that was inherited. They rented because they had some credit issues and they did work on it. And then, that was a little bit different because it was you're dealing with family, which surprisingly went smooth. So that was more so they were going to live in there and pay for it. And then they ended up buying it. So that was slightly different. But
we've seen, instead of that, we've seen more owner financing.
Oh, yeah.
Happen in some situations. So owner financing with a 5-year balloon instead of doing a rent to own.
Oh, that's clever, actually. That's clever. I like that one. That makes more sense. It actually makes way more sense, right? And the yeah. Well, sweet. Well, anything again, loaded question.
Yeah. What haven't you asked?
Yeah, what haven't I asked that you think at least covers the basic? We're just
Right.
we're just peeling off the first layer of the onion here.
So questions that we get asked a lot,
Yes.
or concerns that landlord clients have is, what happens if the tenant damages my house? So that's one purpose of making sure that we're doing everything, all of our due diligence right from the beginning.
Yeah.
We put a great property, a great product out there
Mhm.
that is attracting high quality tenants. We're allowed to put our very conservative screening process in place, put a very good, detailed lease in place, and then we're doing periodic inspections of the property throughout the time that the tenants are there.
That's amazing, though, I think.
So if there's damage to the property, like it's not going to happen overnight. It's
Yeah.
not well, it could happen overnight. But if it happens overnight, we're going to see it during that first inspection, and then we're going to do something about it. We're not going to be like, oh, you have a 2-year lease. We can't do anything until the end of the 2 years. No, if you're violating your lease 3 months in, then we're acting on that. We're providing the appropriate notices. If you have an unauthorized pet in the property, then we're serving you with that violation notice and saying, okay, hey, this either is or isn't a tenant or a pet friendly home. So either you remove the pet, which 9 times out of 10 is just not going to be the right thing to do because then they'll go get an ESA letter. So you normally say, yes, you can keep the pet in the property. Let's get an application. Let's add any pet fees. Let's make sure we have a pet addendum in place. And just so you know, tenant, if you want to make any other changes, you need to get that approved ahead of time. We have that happen a lot when we have homeowners that move into rental properties.
Oh.
They just never really get over that homeowner mentality. They're like, it's just my house. I'm going to do whatever I do.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. We want you to look at this as your home. But this is not your
But
home.
it's not.
So you do have some rules that you need to follow.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we want to make sure that our tenants are as happy as possible within the parameters of the lease. Happy tenants, pay their rent on time, take care of the property, which then equates to lower vacancies, good situation for our landlords, and then it's low maintenance and low drama for us.
Yeah.
But so back to kind of the damages thing is we're going to see it when we come and do periodic inspections. Our process is we'll do our initial inspection 3 months after tenants move in.
Are they aware of the schedule? Like the tenants know you're coming, or can you just stop by at any point?
Oh, you have to give notice. You have to give at least a 24-hour notice, unless it's an emergency situation, and that's in the law. But our tenants agree in the lease that they will cooperate with periodic inspections, with maintenance contractors, with showings of the property.
Oh, meaning it goes back on the market. Okay.
We tell them what our normal schedule is, but we can give them notice for an inspection at any time. And so we'll come in for the first time usually at that 3-month mark because they're not listening when they move in.
The look on your face is so great. They're not listening.
My movers are coming.
Yeah, you're like, where do I sign?
Exactly.
Where do I sign? Okay.
So, we learned, we figured this out a couple years ago, and we stopped doing in-person move-in inspections. Our tenants get keys at 8 or 9 a.m.
Yeah.
They get access to the lockbox, and we're like, good luck, have fun. You've already gotten your inspection loaded to your portal. Here's all of your instructions. Here's all your information. We've already done all of our due diligence ahead of time. Call us if you have any problems, and we'll see you in 3 months. So then we're making sure that they don't have more people living there than they're supposed to, that they don't have any animals that are there that aren't supposed to be, that they're mowing the grass, and they're not like, oh, I didn't know I had to mow grass. They're changing the furnace filter. They're taking care of the property the way that they're supposed to. And at 3 months, they're usually a little less stressed out.
They're used to comfortable.
And then we set it up on a 6-month rotation from there. So we're getting into our properties at least twice a year. Now, for tenants that have been there for a long time and it's a newer property that has low maintenance needs, then maybe we'll go to once a year on an inspection time frame, but no less than once a year. Because additionally, in Virginia, you have to do an annual smoke alarm certification.
Okay.
All residential rentals have to have their smoke alarms certified in working order at least once a year.
Okay.
And that's whether it's professionally managed.
And that's on the tenant responsibility. That's the owner of the house.
The owner's responsibility. Tenant's responsible for notifying the owner if they start malfunctioning.
Okay.
But the owner's responsible for making sure that they're all less than 10 years old that they're in the appropriate locations per building code,
Interesting.
and that they're actually working
Okay.
every year.
And is that carbon monoxide falls in the same, or is it or that different?
So carbon monoxide is kind of this. It probably will be here pretty soon, but based off of the VRLTA, carbon monoxide alarms are required if the tenant requests it.
Oh.
Then the landlord needs
Okay.
to supply. But it's our policy that if you have any fuel burning appliances in the home, that we have a carbon monoxide alarm on every level where there's an appliance
That makes sense.
burns
Yeah.
out. I'd rather be ahead of it, proactive, than playing the catch up game down the road or having
Well, because carbon monoxide too is so dangerous. I mean, you have no idea until you have no idea.
Right, exactly. And I don't want to have one of those properties.
Yeah.
So we take care of that compliance for our landlord clients, and we send out a contractor that will take care of all of that, put the appropriate forms in the tenant's record, appropriate forms in the landlord record. We're getting gravy for another year.
Nice.
So with any damage that might be observed, we're taking care of it as we go along. After we do an inspection, we're following up with the tenant. Hey, tenant, we noticed these things. Reminder, you need to maintain these. And if it's bad enough, then we're giving them a 21, 30-day notice.
Correct. Whatever the damage is.
To cure. And if they don't cure those issues, then we have the ability to take the next legal steps to terminate tenancy. We don't want to have a vacancy, but we also want to have tenants and landlords that are abiding with their lease contracts. So the questions that come up from landlord clients about damage to properties, whether it be from tenants, from the tenants' pets, or their animals, or things of that nature, could it happen? Yes. We see just as much damage happen from people than we do from pets.
Yeah.
So we always say, let's just stay case by case on pets.
And are they supposed to notify you if there's damage?
Oh, yeah.
You know, if your toddler decides to throw the dump truck down the wall and it puts the hole in the wall, like are they supposed to notify you?
They should.
I mean, there's most of the time they probably just fix it, but I would assume they're supposed to notify, because I mean, accidents happen too, right? It's not all on purpose or just, not being responsible.
Yeah. Tenants they'll.
My parent likes the color. I mean, she everywhere in her
I
home.
have a 5-year-old boy.
Oh, so you've got the dump truck been thrown down your stairs.
Yes. All the things.
All the wonderful thing.
All the wonderful things. So I'm like, okay.
It gets better. My oldest is 19. It gets better as they get older. Not really. It's worse, but.
So yeah, it's a matter of maintaining and keeping on top of it, and then responding to those lease violations and taking care of things as you go along. If you're just waiting and the only time that you're going into your property is when before the tenants move in and after the tenants move out, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
Huge disservice. So that's a big thing that a lot of landlords ask about is how are you going to keep my tenants from damaging my property?
Okay.
We have systems and processes in place to stay on top of it so that it doesn't get horrible.
I mean, they do 100%, but I feel like that's pretty foolproof. I mean, the inspections, the checking in, and all of that. I mean,
No, but you've got to allow people to live the way
yeah.
that they're going to live, as long as it's within,
Sure.
parameters. And that's a difficult thing for homeowners to see when they see the photos. You're in Italy for 3 years, and you see photos of your home here in Loudoun County, your big, beautiful home, and your tenants are cluttered and they've got pet hair up to their nose, and they're not the best of housekeepers. And you see that in your periodic inspections, because we want to be transparent with our landlord clients and our tenants.
But cleanliness isn't.
That's like, you can't tell someone how to
vacuum or dust. Oh gosh. See, I think that's partially for me why I never bit the bullet either. Because you can get fabulous tenants that take care of it and they're not nitpicky, and then you get ones like, the cleanliness thing would be hard for me.
The cleanliness, having family and friends over to the house, and then your neighbors are like, oh, they have 5 cars in the driveway.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Your neighbors are reporting that they are doing this or they're doing that. Those are a lot of the challenges, that because we have so much of what we call that accidental landlord population, that managing expectations is a big part of our job, and making sure that our landlord clients understand that, yes, we work for you, and yes, we want to take care of you and your property, but we also have an obligation to your tenant.
Yeah.
And we can't go into your property every month and do inspections. That's not reasonable.
Yeah.
And we can't send a cleaner.
You chuckle because I feel like someone's asking that then. Or tell them not to park for 5 cars.
Right. Unless it's a community regulation or something like that. So, it's a lot of those types of conversations and making sure that we're trying to keep the peace and not let our landlord clients get overly emotional.
Yeah.
They're home.
Which would be hard if it's your home and it was your primary and they said you're going to be gone, military, whatever, a couple of years and you're going to come back and live in it. That would probably be harder than an investment property that you've never lived in before and you just, every couple of years you put new tenants in it.
Completely. So kind of taking off that,
yeah,
this is my home hat and putting on your business owner hat and then looking at this as an investment, looking at this as a business. You have parameters, you have guidelines, you have processes, you have laws. You have to stay within these. And going outside of those is going to put you behind and it's going to put you at risk.
Yeah. Now, do you do short-term rentals too, or just manage?
We just do long-term. Yeah, we don't do Airbnb or short-term things of that nature. The only short-term we'll do is like 6-month situations.
On Airbnbs and the VRBO and all those different sites, most of those are managed by homeowners, or there are management companies that will do.
Yeah, there's management companies that do it.
I guess I've seen. I guess like some of them, like down at Ocean City, like the big condos where they're all, and you have to go across the street to get the key and you have to turn the key in,
Yeah.
or beach houses, I guess, like that. But I guess right around here in Northern Virginia, we don't sell an Airbnb. There's not a whole lot of, staying in someone's house in Gainesville. There's no.
Well,
because there would be no desire, I suppose. I mean, I feel like most Airbnbs and rentals, there's something. I feel like if you were going to maybe be closer into DC, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at it.
There's a handful
around.
There's a handful around. There's not, and I have that conversation at least once a month with investor clients. They're like, "Oh, I think I want to turn this into an Airbnb." Okay, let's see what the demand is.
Yeah.
For
because I'm saying like right down the street in what Somerset, there's been not a huge demand over here in Gainesville for that, but again, closer into Arlington, those fun condos maybe, right?
So you've got the Airbnb, but you also then have like corporate rentals, and so companies like in Manassas, like my firm might bring executives in, and they may need a place for someone instead of staying at an extended stay in Gainesville. They may want them to stay in a corporate rental that's all furnished and everything.
Oh, okay.
Again, not as big of a demand for it, but there is a slight demand. And most of those companies, then they just rent the place out long term and then just bring their executives.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense too.
We don't do a whole lot of that. We've kind of found our niche.
Yeah, it works really well for you. So how big is your team? Because I'm assuming there's lots of you. Or a handful at least.
Yeah, we have a handful. Here locally, myself, my property manager, Tracy, and my dad has recently joined.
Oh, that's fine.
Yes, he is retired for the second time. And so he's starting his third career in property management, working for his daughter, which is super fun. He's helping us with this portfolio of properties that has kind of throwing him right to the fire to begin with. And then the rest of my property management team is remote. I have 4 remote team members, my director of ops, Ella, our assistant property manager, maintenance coordinator, and our leasing assistant. They're all remote team that work for us full time. And so what is that for? 7 of us total.
Nice.
To take care of our properties.
And so you mainly deal with landlords and people looking to, but if someone was looking to rent and it wasn't a property that you guys, how would you handle that? Because you put all your properties in MLS. Correct?
We do, yeah.
Okay. And that is also, so if someone is searching cities on Zillow, they don't have an agent. We have to work with an agent, they're helpful.
Yes.
But so if they contact you and they don't have an agent and that property doesn't work out, you can kind of help them because you don't deal directly with renters. You are with landlords. You represent the landlords. Okay.
Yeah. We work more so with the landlords, but we all the time. And a lot of that is coming from the community that we built, where people get referred to us, that they're looking for a rental property in Gainesville. Okay, that's fantastic. That is not what my core team does, but we do have a sales team, the Freedom Real Estate team at LPT. And so we see if our sales agents have availability to help. And if they're currently booked, then we have partners all throughout the area. We love our realtor partners. We really strive to be that referral source, that property management reference and resource for them and their clients. And so we're constantly feeding them business as much as we can. And so we're going to find an agent that likes that area, that is available to help and make that connection. Yes.
All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot. We could probably sit here for forever.
Oh, yes.
I do find that a lot with my guests. Like when I first started, it was like they were short and they get longer and longer because there's just so much and like there's so many. I mean, as you keep going and literally peel back the layers, it's this and this and this.
Stories, scenarios, things that we found.
Well, do me a favor, look over here and give me all your info, all your goods, where you're from, your name, how they contact you.
All right. Hi, I'm Tiffany Izenour, Freedom Property Management. So we are based in Manassas. You can find us on all of the places. Our website is freedompm.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. And we serve all of the Northern Virginia market. Love working with landlord clients to minimize their risk and provide a really great housing situation for their tenants.
Beautiful. All right. Well, that's all we have for today. So check us out and we'll see you guys next time.